Alright guys, welcome back to another video on MMAUnhinged. Today we are joined by UFC bantamweight, or a featherweight, a bantamweight, I'm correct here?
Yeah, bantamweight. I've had a lot of
Bantamweight,
fights at featherweight and lightweight, but
yeah.
yeah,
You've been around the block. You don't say no to fights, but yeah, Cameron Earls, how's it going, buddy?
yeah, I'm very good, mate. Good,
Yeah,
better
so
now.
I've been researching you before the interview. Obviously, I would because I need to learn more about you. And I noticed that you were in the paratroopers. And can you run us through like the experiences and like any near death experiences, just any cool experiences you experienced in the paratrooping?
Um, yeah, I joined. Yeah, originally I went in the army at 16. Went straight from school, and because I was a kid, I had to go to an army foundation college,
Hmm.
and then I'd done a year there, passed out, went on to phase two training, paras. I got injured right a week before P company test week. I got injured quite bad, done on my ligaments of my ankle.
Yeah.
I was only 17 at the time, so they pretty much said to me, "You can have an operation, but you're going to be out for like another like 18 months minimum, or you can leave, medically discharge, let it heal itself because I was so young, and then come back and have another crack." So I was like, "I'll do that because I don't want to risk the operation not going well." So I left, took 2 years out, and basically no, a year out, year and a half out, something like that. But basically, I didn't want to go back to my hometown and just do normal stuff. So I decided to learn how to teach scuba diving. So I flew out to Turkey.
Oh
My
wow.
nan helped me pay for that, and I literally just decided to learn scuba diving from nothing to instructor under Paddy. I did it in about 6 weeks, and then they offered me a job. So I stayed out there in Turkey, taught scuba diving. The following year, I went to Spain, and then with basically after that Spain trip, I then got the army. Then basically said, "You've been out long enough. You can come back, and we can assess your injury." Assessed it, passed it, went back, and then they said to me I'd start off like phase two training, but when I got there, they chucked me in basically week 6. So I was like, wankers, made me do the whole thing again. But I loved it. Yeah, passed out. Yeah, and off I went. Off to free para. That was great. Loved every minute of it. As soon as I got to free para, I literally just had to jump straight onto Optag and straight out to Afghan in 2008. Done that tour. Unfortunately, some friends didn't make it back, so God bless their soul. I think that's the biggest thing that you take from going places out there. It's not really so much what you did; it's what didn't happen, and who
Yeah.
didn't come back. But yeah, I got my ears. I got caught. There was a bit of like a blast, and I lost my hearing in both ears. Both eardrums burst, and that caused me to lose my hearing. And then when I basically got back from Afghan, I got moved into MT platoon because I wasn't allowed to be around any weapons or anything because my hearing was shoot. It was all basically mangled, and then my life just pretty much started going downhill from there. I was just like drinking loads and
Yeah.
had a lot of demons in my head, as you can imagine. And yeah, I ended up pretty much losing my way. And then one of my best mates was like, "Look, you're gonna not only end up out of the army, you're gonna end up in prison. Like, if you carry on doing what you're doing." But I just didn't really know what to do. And he said, "Come along to do this MMA. You think you'll be good at it?" And I was like, "Yeah, 100%. I'll smash anyone." Turned up. I got my ass kicked, and I couldn't believe it. But I was so fascinated by it.
Hmm.
And I'd have been watching while I was away in Afghan that we'd like watch UFC and Pride and stuff, and
Oh my
we would
god.
what we would do out in Afghan, we'd set up in the desert, we'd do like rings and stuff, and we'd be like, "Right, who wants to fight UFC?" And I'd be like, "Fucking right, get me on it." So
Wow.
I'll be jump in the middle of the desert with the blokes and that. I'd be having tear ups like UFC style, and
Honestly,
it just,
your story is
yeah.
honestly incredible. How you've gone from Afghanistan, now you're fighting in a UFC cage. That's just incredible itself.
Yeah. So the first UFC octagon I ever fought in was in a desert in Afghan.
So you made your
So we
debut in Afghanistan a whole year back, like a decade ago.
Yeah, that was it. That's where I basically got my hunger for it. I loved fighting, man. And do you know the funniest thing is, like, growing up as a kid, I hated it. Like, I hated combat sports.
100%, yeah.
I wasn't I was a loudmouth kid. Like, my mouth kept me out of fights because I used to talk that much shit. People didn't want to fight me. And then my sister was known as like the hard bitch, like right tough girl. She was the one girl that beat up at blokes, women, anything. My sister, my older sister, and my brother. My older brother was a nutter and all. So I always had them to fall back on. And then like our name, like our surname, become like a bit of a reputation where around our area where it's like, yeah, you don't really want to piss them off. Mainly because of my brother and my sister, not me. And my mum was a bit of a nut job and all. So what ended up happening, I used to just like suffer with anxiety and that like, around fighting and all that. I didn't like it. So it wasn't until I packed my bags and I went off to the army. And I was in the army and someone tried it with me. And without me even realising, I just turned around and banged him, like knocked him out. And I didn't even realise I had it in me, you know. But it quickly made me realise there and then. I was like, hang on a minute. All you got to do is punch him. All you got to do is punch him. If someone's rude to you, I'm trying to bully you, I'm trying to pick on you. If you see someone getting bullied, just punch them, knock them out, and then everyone just thinks you're hard. And like that was it. So literally, after me banging something, that's when I sat back and I thought, you know, thanks, mum. at least you guys have taught me something, and it actually worked. So that's when my life started to change around violence, because I was more. It was more. I used to hate the feeling of being bullied. I wasn't bullied. I was never bullied as a kid. Don't get it wrong. But I used to see a lot of it, and I used to get the piss taken out of me in my little groups when we were at your mates, and I used to hang around with a few little gangs and that, and it'd be like, oh, like mock me and that, and I'd feel a bit anxious, like, oh, if I say it, is it gonna be a fight? So it was kind of like that. But then when I realised that I had a bit of a crack on me, I was just like, do you know what? I'm not standing for anyone's bullshit no more. And the funny thing is, like, within my first 6 weeks in the army, and this is the army college, I'm 16, we go over to the education wing, and we're waiting to, so we're in the education wing and we're just doing this lesson, and then it's a bit like a university college, right? So buzzer goes, he's like, you go off, had 10 minutes break before the next lesson. Me and my friend at the time, we went down to the vending machine to get some bits to eat, little snacks, and we were 8 platoon and they were 7 platoon. Same company, but 7 platoon. And they were like thinking they're the hardest platoon in the company, and it was like 8 platoons the hardest. And we actually had, in my platoon, there was a boxer, and he was ranked 3rd ranked heavyweight boxer in the world, and he was in my platoon, like juniors. He was a beast, right? So he was in our platoon. So he didn't come to the vending machine. I was with this other lad. We went down to the vending machine, and there's all the 7 platoon there, and they start trying to mock us. And my mate's standing there, and he's like walked down, and he's just looked round at the biggest lad. He's gone, fuck it, took his out, bang, and just like banged this kid, like starting on him. And I'm like, shit, we're in a fight. And then obviously I jumped in with him. We started having it, and we ended up bashing this kid up, this other platoon up, and then I remember we all like scampered, run away and that, and then went to lesson, and it was like me and my friend then got called up by the no, that was it. We went to the scoff, we went to lunch, and as we was in lunch, we told this boxer in our platoon. Everyone was like, oh, have you heard about Else and that other lad? They've just bashed up 7 platoon. And he was like, he was jealous. He was like, what? They started on my platoon? Because he was like the daddy of our platoon. Cause he's a big boy, right? And then he was like, I ain't having this. Who's this lad? And this lad that we actually bashed up, he was a Cockney, tall lad. So this guy called Loveday, his name's Loveday, the boxer. We've gone over, and as we've gone back into our company lines, we've gone up to 8 platoon. And just as we gone up, we always have to go past 7 platoon. And just coming out of 7 platoon was this Cockney lad that me and this lad had just give a dig. And this Loveday was like, oi, you start on my platoon. And he takes off his bear, goes, Else lad, hold this. And he gave me his bear, and he turned around and he cracked this lad. And I'm not kidding you, still to this day, I've never had a crunch like it. He hit him, and the guy, he knocked him out, and I was just like, damn, like, what's going on? And it was just like, all like, to be fair, it weren't like, no bullying or anything, it's just all like, geezers thinking they're geezers all trying to fight each other. It's just, that's how the army life is. But anyway, we all then got I was like, he's in a bad way, he's getting hospital. So he went off, and then me and this other lad got pulled into the company office. They're like, did you ever fight there in the company lines and that in the education wing? And I was like, yeah, we did. We put our hands up to it. So we got punished there and then. We got put on guard, and we got told we're on a 3-month bend. The only trouble we'd be kicked out of the army, because we'd only been in the army like 5 weeks. So like, what is going on? So I was standing there, and then it turned out that this lad's now gone off the hospital, and he had his jaw broke in like 3 places by this boxer. So the boxer, cut the long story short, ended up going to the court martial. He got sent to army prison.
That's all right.
Yeah, so he actually got sent off. I remember we was in court, and they were going to put me and my mate Rob in court as well. And we went to court. We didn't go to court only for the reason that we'd already been punished for the crime. So you can't get punished twice. So we escaped court. But my mate, the other Loveday lad, he had to go into court. So he went into court, and he ended up getting like 18 months in an army prison. And they said to us, you two would have been in there as well. But what actually saved him was, prior to him punching him, they couldn't determine that if me and this other lad had fractured his jaw prior to the punch. So he could have been, it went down as both like inflicted pain from him taking a few digs that day. But it was pretty mad. Like that was pretty mad time. So I almost ended up in an army prison straight away. Lucky enough, I didn't, but it just kind of led me down a road where I hated seeing people suffer with anxiety and feeling bullied. So I become one of those lads that I would be out, and if I'd be out in the pub or wherever in life, or see someone getting bullied, I'd step in and go, hey, don't take the piss, like, leave him alone. And they'd be like, what are you gonna do? And I'd be like, me, whack. That's what I'll do. And then it ended up like, ultimately it was like a blessing for me, helping people. I felt like I was like the knight in shining armour. But then obviously after a few years on from there, from being like say 16 it started, where I started to come into like actually realising I could punch people and stuff, to me then coming back from Afghan, having a load of problems like going on, obviously being held back and doing that, drinking a lot, going out, and then any excuse I'd have to fucking punch someone for being a dick, I would. And it ultimately just was getting to the point where you can't be doing it no more, because you're like, it's not just punching people, like you're getting arrested for it. So I then found martial arts, and honestly, the moment I got my ass kicked, I walked out there and I said, mate, I'm going home this weekend. I'm going to quit playing football, and I'm going to dedicate my whole life, and I'll be a UFC fighter. And literally I said that, and I went home that weekend, and I played my last game of football. I told all the lads in the changing, I'm going to be a fighter, I'm going to fight in the UFC and that. And they're all like, to be fair, you need to do something, you're a good little scrapper, like, yeah, you'll smash it, you know, your boys like proper pumping you up.
Yeah.
Went out that game, and I dislocated my knee. So I was like, you're kidding me. Like, I was in cast up to my hip, but I was so gutted, because I was like, I'm meant to be training Monday. Like, I'm starting this journey. And I went back and I saw my mate. My mate was like, oh, that's you then, back out on the piss. And I said, no. I said, I made a promise to myself that I'd be a UFC fighter. I'm going to dedicate my life to this. So I said, I'm going to come to every training session with you, with my cast on. I'll sit there and watch. But I'm so fascinated by it. I used to think I was tough and I could fight, and I actually can't. And I was a father then, and I was like, I need to protect my family. And I think every father, every parent should know how to defend himself in a way to help if they've got to look after other people and that. So I then just dedicated the next year just sitting on the sidelines, turned up with my coach family, and you should just watch. And I think, honestly, by me sitting there watching and just taking it in, I can take things that I can watch practical and I can take in. It's like I don't have to do it. I can see it and I can do it. I'm very good at that. Theory side, load of paperwork, reading books, not really my thing unless I'm passionate for it. So then obviously, that just like speared me on. And the moment I could get on the mat, I got on the mat, and within 18 months I got a blue belt. I won the World Pro Trials here, and then I went out to Dubai, all paid for, and then it just kind of, I was always like, I want to punch people, man. And that was it, and then I just started fighting MMA.
I watched in previous interviews. On your 21st birthday, if I'm correct, you
Yeah.
thought you were going to have a nice, calm birthday. Then you got sent off to an
Yeah.
operation. Could you talk us through what happened in that operation and if it was successful?
Yeah, so that was the day where I lost my hearing. Like, I went deaf. But we'd been out on the ground for about 3 weeks, so it's pretty shit. It was just some rations and that. And then we come back, and I was like, "It's my birthday, son. It's my birthday." And we get told we're flying back in, and I was like, "Sweet, back in on my birthday." So when you get back into like main camps like Cano and that, it's big. It's like safe zone really. So you could go down, go to the NAFI, you can get like a Red Bull and just enjoy it. And we basically come back and like all my mates and that were like, let's just go to the gym, get massive, because we called it the GMC, Get Massive Club. That's what you're on the whole time you're in Afghan. Is just the aim is to get as hench as you can. And so it's just like, yeah, we're gonna get back. And I was like, yeah, celebrate birthday in camp. And a couple of blokes got some vodka sent out, so it was like, okay, we can try and have a little drink. And yeah, we got back, went down to the Scoff House. We'd been back about 3 hours, went down to the Scoff House, and then on the way back, blokes were like, oh, we all need to get in the briefing room. And I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Got straight in the briefing room, and then they were like, yeah, we're flying out at 3 a.m. in the morning. Basically, some Taliban leader had been using his phone, and he was quite an important person, he was making IEDs and that. So we had to fly in at 3 a.m. straight in to them while they're sleeping and capture him and basically get the fuck out of there. It was successful. We got in there and we retreated with him. But yeah, that was definitely a 21st birthday that I'll never forget.
Yeah, man, I thank you for your services, and I'm pretty sure everyone else watching this will thank you for your service and what you've done for our country. And I can't thank you enough for what you've done.
I appreciate it, man.
Well, moving on to your MMA career. So it didn't start off the best. It was quite rocky. You went 4-3, and then you picked up a 6-fight win streak out of nowhere, and then you got your UFC call. What did you do to change that from going from rocky to get that 6-fight win streak? What did you change in your game to get that 6-fight win streak?
I had to listen. I had to listen to the people that are good at their jobs, and I had to stop thinking as a fighter, like, so to speak. Like, the time I need to be a fighter is when I'm in the cage and the opponent's opposite me and the ref goes, are you ready to fight? Now I can be the fighter. But one thing I learned with this fight game is you got to play the game. You have to play the game. And I spent my career, I never wanted to fight any fucking bums. I was always like, I ain't fighting those kids. Mate, give me whoever you want, mate. I know 6 weeks training camp, I'll smash any man that stands opposite me. And I still believe that to this day. However, that kind of like, I started off the wrong way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I took tough fights straight away. Me fighting Spencer Hewitt.
That's my Alexa.
Interview.
I say I've got another interview soon that was just reminding me. Oh my god. I'm so sorry about that. Wait for it to shut up.
All good, mate?
That was my Alexa, sorry.
So that's good. Yeah, so I obviously, as people know straight away, taking a debut fight against Spencer Hewitt, who was 9-2 at the time, me debuting. People are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I know I can beat this guy. I've watched him. I'll smash him. I know I can. Give me the training camp and I'll smash him. So me taking that fight, I'm one of these guys, right? I'm a paratrooper. It's ready for anything.
Mm-hmm.
There is no excuses. So people will sit down and put on a bit of paper, and rightfully so, list 20 reasons why I shouldn't take a 9-2 guy, champion of a promotion, on my debut. There's enough reasons there.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can find one reason, one excuse to why I should fight, I'm fighting. And for me, it was like, I go in there, bang him, I'm straight on top of the table. I'm there. I'm an impatient guy. I want things done, I get it done. Everything I've always done in my life, I've always achieved. No matter how big the goal is I've set, I've achieved it. So I had that coming in. I was going to smash Spencer. In my head, I was going to smash him, and I'm good teammates with him now. We're actually teammates, and we get on. But however, I will say, and I've always said it, that up to that fight, I had the best fight camp ever, and then the week of the fight, Mrs. had a miscarriage late on. A good friend of mine died. Another friend then basically OD'd, and this is literally the week of the fight. And other stuff happened, which I won't go into. But put it this way, the day before the weigh-ins, I decided to drive to Liverpool, see my army mate, scull a bottle of whiskey, go out with him. Then I had to drive back at 3 o'clock in the morning, no sleep.
To make the weigh-ins?
Yeah, my coach just turned up like, where you been? I said, look, just do me a favour, don't ask me anything. Don't ask me why I'm down, don't worry, I'll go in there and I'll smash this guy. And I honestly believe that even though my head wasn't there, my head was outside the cage, and I was in a real dark place, man. Like, I was suffering with depression, like, quite bad, and I just, like, seriously, I just always had a med, like, listen, I say, you probably would have heard this a couple of times. A man today, right? A man is only as good as his word. Like, that's it, period. So if you say you're gonna do something, you fucking do it, period. So for me, I was always gonna fight, and I knew that I'm a savage. So I know, like, again, I know how to fight. So, and I had the best fight camp ever. But by the time it comes, I weighed in, didn't cut weight, just walked in on weight, because the amount of news that hit me that week, I just lost so much weight quick. And I went in there, and I remember for the first time ever in my life, I walked out to a cage and not felt one bit of adrenaline, and I didn't feel anything. And I walked to the cage, and I was thinking of everything outside the cage. And I got in there, and I was like, oh, whatever, man, pain's gone. And I remember the camera coming in my face and me doing this thing like, ah. And do you know when you feel like, I'm acting, what the fuck am I doing? I better look like a right prick now on TV. Like, what am I doing? Like, and I shouldn't be having those thoughts. And I went out there and I fought him, and fair play to Spencer, regardless, he beat me and he put me to sleep in the first round. And I remember just waking up and thinking, fuck MMA, fuck life, man, what is life about? Like, I'm retiring, I can't be arsed, like, fuck everyone. And I said, I've quit, done. About 4 weeks later, I managed to start to get over the things that were going on in my life, and then it made me realise that I looked like a mug, and I thought, well, fuck that, I'm coming back. So then I took a fight on a week's notice. No, not even a week. It was like, it must have been a few days. And because I was like, get me back in there, get me back in there. Look, I had a lot of hype around me, coming pro. Like, I need to get in there. And then a fight come up, Gary Duffy. He was 2-0 or 1-0, but had a better record than me. I was 0-1. And I remember turning up to the venue, right? Get this, we turned up late, yeah, because the traffic. And we was that late, they've dropped me off outside, I've ran out. And as I've come into the reception, the guy's gone, yeah, Cameron's a fucking no-show, he ain't turned. I was like, hey, I'm here, bruv. I was late. Relax, I'm here. I don't talk like that. And he's like, your opponent's in the cage. Going into the cage now. I went, that's fine. He went, well, we're postponing the fight and putting it. I went, nah. I said, I don't need a warm-up. I said, I'm going to smash this guy. I ran literally all the way to the changing rooms. There was another guy in the changing rooms, lucky enough I already knew. So he was like, right, let's wrap your hands quick. Like, they're wrapping my hands. I literally pulled up my shorts. My other coach coming parking the car. That I'm now walking out to the cage. Get to the cage. They're like, where's your Vaseline? I was like, what? I was like, oh, I ain't got no Vaseline. Don't worry, I'm not getting hit. Coach was like, all right, get in. I got in, banged Gary Duffy out in 55 seconds, and they're on the mic. I don't know if you see the interview of that, but it's somewhere. They're like, how did it go? What did you expect? I said, to be honest, I think the car's still running. We literally just turned up, no warm up. And anyway, I'm off. Thanks for the money. See you later. But just let everyone know. I was like, just let everyone know Cameron Else is back. This is Cameron. And I actually said, I was like, Spencer, you didn't fight the real Cameron Else. Fair play, you won, but you didn't fight me that night. You fought a spirit that wasn't there, you know. And then I think from that, I didn't get a phone call. You want to fight Paddy Pimblett?
Oh, yeah. I
was like, fuck yeah, smash him, man. I was like, easy money. And they're like, all this hype around him. He's 5-0 as a pro, and he's 12-0 as an amateur. And they're all this hype. And do you know when you're like looking, I'm looking and thinking, what is the hype around this? This kid's going to get banged. And obviously I took that fight and I put him away. And that was great. I even called it word for word. Asked John Gooden, he's a UFC commentator now. He was commentating on that. He messaged me asking me. Yeah, he asked me. He said to me, "How do you think the fight's gonna go?" And I texted him word for word exactly how the fight went, and it went Anaconda choke done. And yeah, then obviously, like fast forward to obviously, I've had so many ups and downs, man. It's like if I sat here and went through every story of like the corruption, be all day, and I know I like to talk and I get so into it because I am passionate about it, and I want people to know like my story because I think it's very important for young fighters coming up that need to understand that. And my best advice to any fighter, if you turn pro, you make sure you get a manager, and you make sure that manager has got record proof there of the fighters he's producing, that he's actually a manager, not some guy who's picked up a camera that promised you that he'd do a promo video on you.
That's quite funny you said that. That kind of makes me feel like that's happened to you before.
Yeah, it has. I've got man, I've been screwed over. Like, put it this way, right? I beat Paddy Pimblett, yeah? They didn't expect that. They thought we'd bring Cameron in to lose. Done him in 35 seconds, light work, easy. What then happens? Cage Warriors do not release the fight for 2 years. Hid it. Hid the fucking fight.
Okay.
Everyone's like, well, Cameron's beat top boy. I'm then like that. Give me the next top boy at bantamweight. I'll smash him. Like, I wanted to run for the title, and they're like, oh, basically, mate. I asked for every fight at bantamweight, and they didn't come back to me with any fights. Then I get a phone call. Do you want to fight Spencer Hewitt? I was like, fuck yeah, I'm done. Let's go. They're like, yeah, it's next week. I was like, yeah, done. I've been training because I thought just stay ready. And you offer me Spencer Hewitt rematch, I'm gonna fucking break this guy, man. I really wanted to fuck him up. And now I'm like, obviously, all my problems are done. It's time to rewrite that wrong. And they come back and they hit me with, oh yeah, it's that flyweight. And I'm like, I've never really made flyweight. I said I probably could make flyweight if I do a 8-week camp, but you're asking me on a week's notice. Never really been there. Can we just do it at bantamweight? Because when I first fought Spencer, bear in mind it's like a year before, it was at bantamweight. He's fought at bantamweight loads. They come back and say no, he's not. He don't want it at bantamweight. He knows you're like on a 2-fight win streak and you're looking good. And Spencer at the time was actually on like 3-fight loss. So obviously, well done for him. He had a manager at the time that obviously was very good and said no, we only want it at flyweight. Me being stubborn, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll make flyweight because I just wanted to fight him so much. So I just discarded the weight cut. I was like, easy, do it. If I say I'm gonna do it. Turned up, worst weight cut in the world, cut 13 pound on the day. Collapsed. Bro, listen, I'm not even joking. I collapsed after we had to face off. We faced off, and I'm meant to stay there now, and pose, and I just walked straight out because I had these black lines coming in, and I thought I'm gonna pass out and I'm gonna get pulled off the card. I ran to the lift. And then my cornerman at the time, he literally opened up the lift and I'm passed out on the floor, like collapsed out. So he picked me up, started filling me up with water. I'm like I'm so delusional. I go upstairs, to my hotel, and I'm laying in bed and I cannot move, mate. I'm literally in agony. My kidneys, in so much pain, to the point I couldn't move. And I laid there for like 2 hours, couldn't eat or anything. When I was trying to drink loads of water, because I didn't know all this, right? I just thought I could just neck a litre of water.
And then you'll be
no,
fine.
you can't. You've got to sip it. Like, your body's shut down. So when I tried necking it, all my throat was tightening up and it was foaming up. It was hideous. And I just said to my cornerman at the time, I was like, mate, I can't, like, I don't know what's going on. And then I get a knock at the door, right, on my hotel. You need to get out of your hotel. I'm like, what? You need to get out of the hotel? I'm like, nah, mate, listen, I can't go home. Like, I'm in central London, I'm fighting here tomorrow. I know I said that, because I did say I only want a hotel for the night before the weigh-ins, because I had to start the weight cut, So then I said, don't worry about weigh-in night. Originally I said, okay, well, don't worry about the weigh-in night, because I'll just go home, because I like to stay in my own bed, and I'm out in Kent, so it was about an hour and a half, if that, away, because it was like central London. So bearing in mind now, they know I've had a bad weight cut. They now ask me to leave, and I say, nah, I'll stay an extra night. I will take this room now because I can't physically move. No, Cage Warriors didn't approve it, told me to get the fuck out of the hotel. I then have to get in my car and drive home, yeah, the day before I'm fighting. Mate, that journey home turned into a 3.5 hour car journey home because we hit the traffic of London, like busy out through central London.
Oh,
so I got home like 3.5 hours later, dying in the car, got home, and normally, like, again, this is how, like, inexperienced I were. I used to always have a big pizza, ice cream and everything after the weigh-ins. So my missus had let basically got all the food in, and I walked in and I just looked at him and was like, I gotta go to bed, I'm really bad. And she was like, babe, you look fucked. And I was like, I need to go to bed. And I went upstairs and I just got into bed. I didn't eat no food. I woke up next day and I got out of bed and it felt like I'd run a marathon. Like my legs, the veins were popping. It was hideous, mate. It was such a bad weight cut. And then again, cut long story short, had the fight with Spencer, went 3 rounds of him. Again, if you watch that fight, they talk about the weight cut straight away. That it says, like, when I go to grab him and I'm exhausted, and yeah, it just basically went tits up. And Spencer won, fair enough. He beat me again, yeah, unanimous decision. And then a week later, I got took into hospital because my kidneys were shutting down. So that was after a week, and I was then out for 6 to 7 months. I couldn't train because my body was like so fucked up, and that's when I decided I need to take this serious. I need to get a nutritionist. I'm never ever cutting weight again, and that's when I then never had any problems with the whole weight cuts and stuff.
Yeah, cut weight in MMA is such a weird system. You got to dehydrate yourself. You can't like eat. You have to like drink certain. You can't like. I've seen TJ Dillashaw, for example, when he was trying to get down to 125 pounds, he was having a salad with a Dorito crisp, eating Dorito crisp, and then just eating the salad. So he had some flavour on the salad.
Yeah, and then he was getting a needle and sticking it in his ass, and then pumping some shit in. A little fucking rat.
Yeah, he had that as well. Yeah. So we'll move on. Long story short, after all that, you're 4-3. You went on a 6-fight win streak. You got the call to the UFC on short notice. What are the odds? You're always getting called up on short notice. How did that feel to get called up on short notice and you say, you know what, I'm a UFC fighter now?
Do you know? I knew it was going to happen because it's what a lot of people don't.
I love that mentality.
Yeah, a lot of people. And another thing, what a lot of people don't know is I almost got signed back in March for the London card.
I would have been there. I would have watched you.
Yeah, so I almost got signed there, but then it all shut down because fight started pulling out and all that. So because people couldn't fly over.
Yeah.
And then there was talk that Jack Shaw's opponent pulled out. So then I'll get a message, will you jump in and fight Jack Shaw? And I was like, yeah, I would. Wow. Like, I'm on weight. I'd literally made weight specifically for that because I knew, and I said to everyone, I will make my debut March 2020. I'll be there fighting in 02. And I was so stuck on that visualization, I knew it. And then a week before, I remember watching the event before, sitting there, watching the UFC event, mad because I'm like, I want a fucking pizza, man. And I might cut weight for fuck all. And then I get the message and it looked like I was almost going to fight there. Then I was waiting for the next day to come and then Dana White cancelled the whole show. So that all went tits up, right? So then it was also another thing, what people don't realise is I flew out, to, at Christmas.
Yeah. Is that tea or coffee?
This is the tea. I won't do coffee this time of night.
Oh, alright.
But, so what people don't know, is last time I was in America and I trained properly, like training regularly because I'm always out there. And then went out there for the Brave fight, done that 6, 7 weeks out there with Cowboy. Come back, not fucking knocked Aiden James out. And then I was meant to fly back out in October, but I didn't because Brave negotiation fell through and they wouldn't give me the title fight with their guy, so that fell through. Ended up having a couple more fights, and then I was flying out I spoke to Cowboy and he basically said about flying out to America to jump in his camp for the Conor McGregor fight.
Oh wow. That's huge.
And because, mate, also, like, I'm very good at, like, I can I can interpret him well, like in terms of kicks,
Yeah.
coming out the way he does, talking shit. So I also said to Cowboy like bruv, I can fucking mimic him, and we're the same height. So yeah, obviously stand up is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But I knew I could like just bring something and help him out, and he said, "Yeah, come out, man." So I flew out to Cowboy the day after Boxing Day. However, mate, I got coronavirus.
Before at Boxing Day.
Well, I say it. Obviously, I don't actually know, but I'm telling you, bruv. Before it all got fucking hyped up about COVID and all that, yeah, and no one really knew about it, I started feeling ill over Christmas, and I started getting like a fucking bare dry throat, like, and I could feel I was getting sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm feeling really run down. It was the day after Boxing Day, and it was hard for me because I didn't want to leave my family, and especially like my kids. And I flew out, and on the journey out there, I felt so bad, mate, like really bad. And by the time I got out, finally got out to Cowboys Ranch, snowing up there, it was hideous. Got in, I see him, I'm like, bruv, I'm gonna go to sleep because I fucking really ill, and I think I'm coming down and saying I'm gonna keep away from you. So I went and got my head down, woke up all through the night sweating, piss sweat, then cold. It was hideous. I knew I was going down with something bad. I didn't know what it was, so I made a choice. Like I messaged Cowboy. He was out on the snowmobiles, and I just messaged him and said, "Look, bruv, I'm fucked, and I don't want to get him ill or any of his team. I don't even want to risk being around them." So I was like, "I'm going home." So I literally just had a turnaround flight within 3 days, and I flew home. And the deal then was to fly back out in March, and I was going to be out there in March for 3 months because I was going to fight on the Contender Series. So when it got to March, obviously I got told to stay ready for the UFC because I was like short notice for that, for the London card. And then I basically, that fight didn't happen because COVID kicked in, didn't it? So then it was like, oh, you're not signing the UFC now, but don't worry, you're on a Contender card. So I was like, all right, sweet. But then I couldn't fly out to America because they shut everywhere down. So they shut everywhere down here, didn't they? And I haven't trained anything, and I had a kind of dark times during COVID.
I can imagine everyone had 2020 hasn't been the best of year for everyone, but you know, I can imagine.
I'm someone, mate, that needs routine, and like my thing that I need in my life is a sauna every day because it's my peace, man. It's my zone. I'm meditating there.
Keeps you sane, sort of thing.
Yeah, it does, and I have a routine. I'm up every morning 5 a.m. running, sprinting, swimming, the lot. So for me, I went from having nothing, and then I found myself drinking heavily, sitting in my garden, getting pissed up in the sunshine, trying to stay like focused, not allowed to leave my house. Then I found myself going back to my dark days, man, and the demon. I always talk about this demon, and everyone has the inner demon, and my demon started fucking me up, and that's when, I don't know if you've seen it, but on my Instagram I decided I needed a challenge. I need to challenge my inner demon and get him awake. So I put a challenge out on my Instagram, and I got really good feedback off it, and I've done 3 challenges back to back, and they were tough, they were completely different, and they challenged the inner demon. So I did that, and then I then get told, oh, you can't actually go on the Contender Series because I couldn't get out to America. I then get told, oh, you want to fight Jack Shaw on Fight Island? He's had a pull-out. And I was like, yes, this meant to happen. Then get told that Jack Shaw's team went with another fighter. To be honest, I was kind of like, that again was 6 days notice, and I was fucking heavier than what I was for this last fight. So I was like, fucking hell, man, this is going to be a bad wake up, but fucking going to do it. And then obviously that said no, and then I said to the manager, what the fuck? And then he's like, oh, don't worry, got Nathaniel Woods. And I was like, sweet. So
there he is.
Nathaniel Woods, yeah. Nathaniel Woods fight, that was 25th of July. So I was like, sweet, I've got 3 weeks so I can get my weight down. Even though I haven't trained for like 10 months, it was like, don't matter, I know I can. In my head, I was like, I was so excited for that fight because I was meant to fight Nathaniel twice on the regional circuit, and both times I had to pull out because first time I had an incident and I got glassed on the back of my head. I had like 8 stitches, so I had to pull out, of course. And then the second time I stepped in on short notice to fight him with a week to go, and I quickly jumped on the sprint track to get some runs in, and I popped my hamstring straight away, and I was like, rung him literally, said yes, rung 2 days out. Oh man. So obviously I just thought, all right, we're destined to fight Island, me and Nathaniel, prospect killer, sick. And then obviously that fight thing, I got sent to London to do my bloods. This is what the most confusing thing was. So I'm doing my bloods, and then I get told that he didn't get offered the fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't really know. Like, it is what it is. Like, he's gonna say he didn't get offered the fight, and I do honestly think that maybe Nathaniel didn't get offered the fight. Maybe his management got offered the fight, or maybe his team got offered the fight, and they just picked the best fight for him, and rightfully so. Like, why would you want to step in and fight me on, say, short notice when you know I've thrived off that? And let's be honest, like, Nathaniel was coming off a loss.
Yeah, just recently. 55.
Yeah, well, before it was Dodson, wasn't it? So
yeah, he lost to Dodson, yeah.
Yeah, so he's coming off a loss, and rightfully so. And this goes back to having the right people around you. Nathaniel, I know, will fight anyone. I know he will. He's a fighter. Like, that's why you don't get to this level if you're not a fighter. Like, I know what he's about. But he's got a good team around him. And let's just say if they offer over 5 fighters, and I'm on one, I may have been on the list. I may have not been on the list. I was told I was on the list. May have not been. I don't really know, and I don't really care now. But all I know is that your team, the people that are paid to look after you and do that negotiating, they'll sit there, look at 5 people and go, he's the easiest person to beat, we're taking him.
Yeah.
Because it's a win, and he's young, so I get it. I'm not mad no more. I was mad at the time because I'm like, little prick, you fucking stopped me going in UFC, and started getting all hate and started calling him out a bit, and I was a bit annoyed. But I'm over it now, and I always knew like I was going to get a UFC call up, and mate, when I got that, it really shook me up. I was like, right, I need to fucking get on this, train, but there weren't nowhere to train, so I was like going down to the pro boxing gym, and so thankful for like my local boxing gym, absolutely fucking legends, mate. And mate, the sparring I got there was a whole new level, mate. I got lit up like a fucking Christmas tree, and I love it. And I still love it now. I'm still back down there with them. I'm still going to be training with them regularly. But what ended up happening, because I got told to stay ready.
Yeah. So
I'm keeping my weight down. So I'm now peaking in terms of fitness, weight, and I'm putting. Mate, I was literally just kickboxing sparring with one guy, and then boxing sparring with them, but no MMA sparring. It weren't like takedowns, ground and pound. It was just literally bit of kickboxing. And my kickboxing coach and like friend Jermaine, like, he said to me, you notice a difference as soon as all the UFC talking. He said, Cam, you just become like a fucking different animal. So when I was sparring him, it was getting to the point where I'd, for the first time ever, and it's his first time ever with Jermaine, I like went like that. He's maintained, I've just gone like that. So in sparring, it was like I really couldn't get out of first gear, because I'd have to ease off and respect the fact that, and fair play to him, mate, he turned up like every Tuesday and Thursday to spar me for like 7 rounds, and his legs, like, he's a Taekwondo guy, so I battered his legs, and he'd have to stop him, you know. And but I never got pushed, you know. And then it got to a point where I got tennis elbow in my left elbow.
Mm-hmm.
I punched him with my right fist, and see that finger there? Yeah. I couldn't get it in. It was like that. It was all swollen and up, all the knuckles swollen. So it was like that. Sorry. So inside this column, it was all swollen and that. And Fight Island had finished, and I said to my manager, "Look, I'm fucked, man. Like, I've been maintaining." And I said, I'm going to take 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off now of doing nothing to let my body heal, because I couldn't grapple or couldn't do anything. Because tennis elbow, I don't know if you've ever had it, but it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. It like build right up?
Inside, yeah, but no, it's like inside your elbow, but you can't restrain, you can't push, you can't press up, you can't do anything, man. Like, I was trying to spar the boxers without my left hand, without a left hook. It was hitting. It was just getting worse and worse, and boxing coach like, look, just ease off. And then we decided to just stop me on everything, and the whole game plan was, come September we jump back on it, ready for the next Fight Island. So took 2.5, 3 weeks off, chilling, and then come September, I was like, oh right, I'll get back on it. But then I realised tennis elbow hadn't gone and my knuckles hadn't stopped swelling. So then it was like, well, I can't spar, I can't do anything, because if I keep re-injuring them, because I was trying to do light sparring, but I just catch an elbow on my knuckle and it would swell up again. So it was like, I don't want to be called up for a fight next week on Fight Island and be like broken hand say still on tennis elbow. Like I'm really stacking more odds against me. And then, so I didn't do no sparring or anything. And then it turned from 2 weeks into 5 weeks, and then I was just taking it easy, like in terms of grappling, sparring. I wasn't doing none of that, but I was just turning up to the swimming pool and keeping my cardio there. So if I keep my cardio there, that's it. Because in my head, I'm a killer and I'm fucking don't need a camera. I know the fight. I'm just gonna smash everyone. And then I literally got the call up, and I get 6 days, and I'm like, yeah, I can make the weight. And then the whole quarantine shit fucked me up. I got told I got the fight Friday. So they basically asked, my manager was like, you're getting signed. Like my manager's been speaking to Sean Shelby. He's like, look, we're signing Cameron. Like Cameron will be signed to us this year. We want Cam. Like we know he brings it. So I always knew. Just getting annoying when people ask you, innit? And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be in the UFC. I'm gonna be. Oh yeah. When are you? He's like, I say, I don't want to talk about it. It's just gonna happen. And then he rang me up and said, look, you're going to get signed, but there's a fight next week. Do you want it? I said, yeah, give me it. He said, no one wants it. None of the top 10 want this kid. And I was like, you know, I want it. And he's under the same management. And I was like, question is, will he take it?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, they'll take it, because otherwise he ain't going to fight. And I found out, got the fight on a Friday. I was expecting to fly Saturday morning, and the UFC didn't, because I had to quarantine here in London. I had to do a COVID test and sit back. So then I didn't fly out till Monday. Got out to Dubai 12 o'clock night on a Tuesday, I think, and then I had to stay in my room till the day before the weigh-ins. Hideous. I remember looking at the scales, thinking, I was saying to my coach, like, this weight ain't coming off. And then again, woke up the day of the weigh-ins. I was 13 pound over. I managed to cut 22 pound in a week.
Oh man.
And it was kind of like, but the thing is, I didn't go too much into it at the time around the fight, because I didn't want to take anything away from Tyler Phillips, and I didn't want to look like one of those guys that always comes out of excuses and that. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate thing is, like I said at the beginning of the interview, I'm a man of my word. If someone do it, I'm going to do it. I knew the outcome. I knew I had a big weight cut. I knew it was a week notice, and I knew all of them factors, and I still knew that in my head I'd smash him. So that's it. Carter Phillips was better than me on the night, without a shadow of doubt. Did the weight cut have a massive effect on me? Yes, it did. Did the actual fact that I also felt a bit of an adrenaline dump? Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. I felt that because I signed to the UFC within a week, fulfilled my dream, but I didn't even have time to acknowledge it. And now I'm walking into the cage and seeing the monster sign on the floor, and I'm like, okay, shit, I'm here. And also on the way to the cage, I was thinking, should I just go out guns blazing and bang him? Because I know catching cut is going to be out.
Yeah.
Because I know I could knock him out, and I knew he was a stand-up fighter, so I thought, he's expecting to come forward. He will not back me up. And but then I was thinking, he knows I've had a bad cut. And I thought, if they're prepared for me to come guns blazing like I normally do, then they're probably going to think he's got that in him for a round, so let's just avoid them. And then I'm tired, and I didn't want to be well tired, gassed on TV and shit. So I tried to play it safe and come out and be like, right, just wait, pick your shot, bang, hit him. And mate, I felt that in the first 3.5 minutes of that fight, even though I felt like death inside when I watched it back, I was actually doing alright. Like, he didn't land anything. He tried to throw the knee, I saw it a mile off, threw a couple of spin kicks, saw that a mile off. He didn't land any 1-2 punch, but the one punch I landed on him, even he said he said to me, it rattled his doorbell, and I was like, what? Ding ding. And I was like, fucking hell, I don't want to take that power. And his corner said, don't fuck with his power. And I was like, got you now. Now I'm going to start fainting you because you're scared of it. And boom, he took me down. And that was kind of what we wanted to happen, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I wanted to go up, put the power, let him feel the power, let him shoot. And then, mate, trust me, when I sat on the floor, I'm a fucking beast. So in my head, we hit the floor, and like I did, I bridged him straight away. I exploded, and honestly, off that explosion, I just felt like my soul leave my body. Like, my body was exhausted. And the easiest way to explain it like anyone can say, oh yeah, you need to work on your cardio. It's my pet hate, bro. I'm fitter than anyone, mate. I'm 48 resting heart rate. I'm fit, but a marathon runner's fit, right?
Yeah.
But after the day after his marathon, he ain't fit. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna be able to run that, and that's what his easiest way to explain a bad weight cut is. It exhausts your body, exhausts your muscles. So it's like you've technically worked out. Like it can go really bad, and no fans know this. So when you explain it, you just sound like you're a sore loser and you're chatting shit. But all us fighters, we know the effect. And anyway, I lost, man, and it fucking sucked. And I was so devastated. And I ain't gonna lie, mate, I had a little cry because it was the visualization. Like I've never visualised that ending. I honestly believe that even if I got offered to fight Khabib on my debut, I believe I would go in there and knock him out. I'd bang him. So if I lost that on a week's notice to Khabib, after, I'd still be upset and people would probably be looking at me going, bruv, you just stepped in the full Khabib. And I'd be like, yeah, but you don't get it. I was fucking in here. I was winning. Like, I was going to win. I'm devastated because I'm a competitor and I'm a true believer in myself. So it doesn't matter who it was. But then took me, Cowboys taught me, Cam, cry your heart out 24 hours. After that, shut the fuck up, get back on the horse, and let's go for it. And I've always, I take a lot from him. He's been not only has he been a great friend, he's been a great mentor, and he's taught me a lot. And there's two things he said that, and another great thing he's always said to me is, know what you're good at and stick to it. Just stay the fucking course. Keep going. If you get given 100 fights, Cam, you know you're gonna win 80%. That's it. It's a stick it. So I've always stuck to what like he said, and it's got me here. So when I got back from the island, obviously it sucks and whatnot, and I sat there and then I had to sit there and my coach was like, Cam, watch the fight back. I was like, I ain't watching it. I'm embarrassed, mate. Just mug myself up. And he said, no, bro, trust me, watch it. So I watched it, and now I watch it every day, 10 times a day, and I'm like fuming. But I was surprised because when I watched it, because I know how I felt inside, like I was all these questions in my head, like I knew I was against the clock, I was exhausted. But watching the fight back, I feel that I was winning the fight up to the point he took me down. Like he didn't do shit, and the way you got to take in life, yeah, you have to take the positives out of every situation.
Yeah.
When I was in my darkest days, I used to hold on to the negatives and wonder why the fuck am I in this depressive state of mind for fucking 2 years, whatever, because I'm concentrating on it, and the laws of attraction, what you put out is what you receive. So when I changed it to, I now look at that fight and I go, right, let's actually look at it, let's list it. I haven't MMA sparred since 2019 July. That's one, right? I haven't I basically didn't do any sparring up to that fight, boxing sparring, kickboxing sparring, 6 weeks prior to that fight. My first spar was Kyler Phillips. It was a week's notice. It was 22 pound in weight. I also, the biggest fuck up, mate, was when we got out there, I get told I'm fighting at 7 a.m. in the morning and I'm on the main card. Like, more pressure. So I'm like, and to be fair, but when they said 7 a.m, I thought, sweet, I'm up every morning at 5 a.m. I fucking swim at 6, so getting up at 5 a.m. and going to a fucking venue and just knocking someone out, that's my type of morning. That's the best morning I can have. I'll be back for my breakfast. I'll be slamming beers at the fucking pool at 7 a.m. Like, perfect. Like, at 8:30, so I thought, yeah, sweet. But what I didn't take into account, obviously, after the weight cut and that, so then I was meant, technically, I'd fight like 9 o'clock at night, right? So in my head, it was like, I'll go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. So I'm going to go to bed, sleep, get a full night's sleep, wake up at 5, go to the venue, knock someone out. Mate, got to 8 o'clock at night, I'm laying in bed, I'm like, fuck, I'm gassed, fuck. Mate, I didn't sleep one fucking bit. I was like a kid at Christmas, sitting up in my bed, my coach next to me, snoring his head off, like, Rhino, me keep throwing pillows in, I'm like, bruv, shut up, man. I was like, I'm not even trying to sleep, but I can't. And that's when I started going through the motions of started taking in then. I'm a UFC fighter. Or how's the fight going to play out? Or feel a bit nervous, feel a bit anxious, felt a bit like, oh, I don't want to look like a dick. Oh. And then I thought, no, fuck off, man, I'm a beast. By the end of the night, come 5 a.m. when alarm clock's going off, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for this. So technically, I had no sleep 24 hours before. And then I find out that every other fighter on the card, do you know what they were doing?
What?
They sorted out their body clocks. They were going to bed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, waking up at 10 o'clock at night, staying up till the next day, getting their workouts at 3, 4 a.m. So when I heard it from that Casey Kenny, who's Nathaniel, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like that's another thing that no one sees. Quarantine, stuck in a room for fucking 56 hours, no one sees, and not training, and it, like getting bumped up to the main card above Carlos Condit and that, who's my teammate at Jackson's, and I'm like, all right, Carlos, bruv. Do you know what I mean? It's like there were so many things, and now I just look back and go, they're facts, yeah, that is actual facts. And if you take all of that and you look at how I performed, it weren't that bad. You can tell people that know me that I lost my brother. In between rounds, I was sitting there and I'm thinking, fuck, my body's fucked, and I wanted him to take me down, and now that little fucker's took me down. He's all over me like fucking tramp on a bag of chips. I can't keep up with him because I'm exhausted. So I thought I'd just stifle it out, and then I'll just fucking punch himself out because I know he gets tired. And I had so many messages saying it was an early stoppage, it was bullshit. At the time when I was in the cage, I just felt like, because I felt like shit, I thought I looked shit, and I probably looked like I was getting absolutely bad. When I look at back, fucking right, it was an early stoppage. But again, it was like, he asked me to cover up, I did cover up. I protected the side of my head, he took my back, so I'm protecting here. I knew he'd never submit me, so I'm protecting here. This is where he's punching. You're not allowed to elbow in the back of the head. He fucking dropped 2 solid elbows in the back of my head. And then the fight gets stopped. And then I weren't in any pain or anything, but I was probably just a little bit too relaxed. Because I knew I was tired, and I kept thinking I'd get second wind or whatnot, and it was just, there was so many factors, you know what I mean? But what we got to look forward to now is what's coming ahead. I'm going out to America hopefully within the next week or two, and I'll be training like I do 4 times a day with all the killers out there, and then I'll probably come back at Christmas, have my Christmas here with my family, and then I'll jump straight back out there and I'll be training again. So I'm training consistently, and then I'll get the phone call and it'll be, you got to fight in 8 weeks. Yeah, I'm fucking ready to go. You got me, and now a further 8 weeks now just to plan for this guy. Now you're going to get that version of Cameron. Do you know what I mean? And you're not going to get a silly weight cut. So we've not got a problem with the weight cut. We've not got jet lag. We've not got all that shit. We've not got the whole, what we've got to look now at the benefit is, I've made my UFC debut. There's no pressure on me. I ain't got to wonder what it's like to get in a UFC octagon, see the monster sign and think, fucking hell, look a monster on the floor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got to worry about that. I've done it all. Yeah. So now it's like, I've done all that. Now I know what I can bring. I know that, like he said to me, and people always say to me, man, I've got the power to knock out every single person in the bantamweight division. And mark my words, I will knock out the majority of them. And I have the ground game to smash them on the floor, even off my back. So I'm just excited now, and I just think, fuck it, like, enjoy the roller coaster. I know there's going to be ups and downs, but I'm here, man. I'm a UFC fighter. I'm here. There's going to be ups, going to be downs, but I'm in the UFC. Before, when you have your downs, and before I was in the UFC, it's hard. Like, how long am I going to stay down for? Because the corruption around me, not going to let me in. They don't want to shine the light on me. So, you know.
Well, we'll go for one more last question. I don't want to keep you for too long. Your missus probably wants to get something to eat or something to dinner.
That's right, mate.
Yeah. So we'll go for one more.
I love to talk, mate. I love to talk, as you know. Like, passionate guy, and I say how it is, mate. I don't hold punches.
I love it. I love your mentality and how you think about yourself and your confidence. I can see it thriving. I love it. Absolutely love it. And we'll go for before the fight. You said that you obviously you didn't train at Jackson Wink, and I think I know the obvious answer. You would have preferred to be at Jackson Wink for the fight. Did you feel like that kind of restricted how you performed that night? And you reckon if you were at Jackson Wink, you would have got the full best Cameron?
Well, like, again, obviously I know I've obviously covered that in terms of know now, and everyone knows now that I haven't MMA sparred or MMA trained in a year nearly. Let's be honest, it was July. July 2019. So what I did to get to the UFC was consistency and being out in America 3 or 4 times a year. And I said to myself, every bit of money that I earn, and I run a fight promotion, so all the money I make off that, I invest in myself. At the end of the day, you need to invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, people see that, and then people invest in you. But don't expect someone to invest in you and your dream if you're not doing it yourself. So I always made sure that I would do it. I also know that, look at Man United football team, right? They train 3 or 4 times a week. They train all year round, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But even out of season, they still train because it's consistency. You got to always be mixing with them. So I couldn't just be a fighter in the UK who's joined Jackson Wink, but then, okay, I only fly out to Jackson Wink and train when I have a fight and get 8 weeks in. Do you know why? Because all the people who are already at the top are out there and they're living in America and they're training every single day, 4 times a day. The only difference is when they get told you got to fight in 8 weeks, now the game plan comes into it. So now they just, when they turn up to their sparring, they spar how they're fighting their opponents. That's the only difference in it. So it was always, for me, a massive thing. And that's what really elevated my game in 5 years of being at Jackson Wink. I went from just an absolute brawler, someone that rolled the punches and just get in the pocket and swing, and a fan favourite, you know, to someone who realised when I had the right coaches around me to guide me, and they're like, man, you're massive for bantamweight, you got a big frame, you got stinging power, let's just like slow it down, stop trying to get in the trenches with everyone, you can knock people out at one punch. So I learned a lot. So having now no training since 2019 and basically coming off it, going into that fight, don't get me wrong, going into the fight, 100% I believed I could just bang him. But let's have, my coach put it to me perfectly. He said, Cameron, if you had won tonight, he said, it would be criminal. It would be criminal to that man, Kyler Phillips, who has trained for 6 months solid, had opponents pull out, he's in peak condition, he's done everything right. He's training with Casey Kennedy and all the other guys that were on the fight card. Mm-hmm. He's in there 4 times a day, training for 6 months. For you to go in there with no training whatsoever and just slap him, bang him and done is criminal, and it's wrong, and it shouldn't happen. He said, you've not done nothing. He said, so now if you had a full camp, then yeah, you know what you do to him. I know if I had a full camp, Carter Phillips would have been dealt with a lot sooner. It probably would have been round 1 for me. And I honestly believed that. I believe I would have come out with the pace I always bring, and it would have been good night, because I know I could keep that pace for 3 rounds. But in this fight, I couldn't worry. I just fought too much. He beat me on the night, and on the night he was better than me. But if I had been out at Jackson Wink and carried on, and this COVID didn't happen, and we was all just carried on training, mate, it would have been the visualization I've always seen. I would have come in, I would have knocked him out, I would have jumped on that mic and said to Dana White, Matrix that motherfucker, give me my 50 G's and the new camp cheaters in town. This is it.
Man, I absolutely love your enthusiasm and your confidence and the belief in yourself. I can't wait to see you back in the cage, hopefully that soon. Yeah,
mate. I've got a bit of an injury at the minute, just a slight knee injury. But I actually sparred today, first time since the fight. Felt alright. Took one little clip on it though, and I was a bit like, yeah, okay, it's still sore, but I'm now back in the swimming pool. From tomorrow, I'm back doing all my cardio and getting there, and I'm just basically trying to sort out now my entry into the US to get back training properly, and everything's out there for me. I've got like doctors out there that are part of my team, which I'm very fortunate enough where I haven't got to pay money like to get all looked at and get the right treatment, so I can go in and get the right treatment on my knee, and just get back to it, man. Like, if I could, I'd fight in December, but one thing again, like, I've got a management and I have to listen to them, and the truth, and I've got a coach, obviously my coaching team, and the truth is, before I used to take short notice fights and they'd always go my way, but if we actually think about it, I was still training consistently. So as much as a short notice fight, they weren't in terms of the actual me training. It weren't like I was getting off the couch. But literally with Kyler Phillips, I got off the fucking couch. And I can't do that at this level. And I'm in a position now, even though as much as that fight doesn't really take a massive impact on my contract, because it is such a short notice fight. And do you know the statistics actually, which Sean Shelby turned around and let my manager know? He said it's statistically right, and only an 8% chance that a fighter will win stepping in on a week's notice against a UFC fighter. 8% chance. So they know. So my manager said all they wanted to know, Cameron, is that you turn up, you bring it, you make weight, you're professional, and you did that. So you've ticked all their boxes. Yet they knew in their margin you weren't going to win that fight. Like they're not, but they just wanted. They know you deserve that shot in the UFC. You belong here. Like Dana White said, like I was going to be on a contender series in November. Like they wanted me here. So I know I've got to just listen to my team. Like if they offered me a fight, Thomas Almeida, fucking in December, I'd be like, yeah, let's fucking go. Like, I want to go. I'd love that fight. However, I can't take it if I'm not training. This is the elite level. You can't get off the couch and keep trying to fight these guys. They're gonna smash you. Like I've now got that, and I'm glad I've acknowledged that. And now it's just a matter of getting back to training consistently, and then we'll be. I'd love to fight in December, but if I'm being realistic, it's going to be January, end of January probably. Providing I get out to America and train regularly, because everywhere in England, as you know, is shutting down as well.
Yeah, but just a quick one. Just a quick one, then I'll let you go. Hour and 6 minutes we've been on air. I've got to let you go. I want you to get on, have a good night at least. So just quickly, you said you were talking about America, how you got doctors out there, that you're training at Jackson Wink. Maybe a plan in the future to move you and your family out there? I'd
love that. But again, it's a lot harder. I think once I plan on being in the UFC for until I retire. So I'd say at least another good 8 years, 9 years. By that time, I'll be a millionaire within the UFC because my style and the amount of performance bonuses I'm going to get. And I know I'll get a strap. I know within 2 years, less than 2 years, I'll be fighting for the title. So I know what that brings. Once I got all that money, then yeah, I'm in a position where I'll be able to move my family over. But I'd love to, because I love America. I love the way of life out there. I love the people I surround myself with. I had to do all that change and put myself in the positive circle. Once you're in a gym like that, where we're all thriving to help each other and you want the best, you get results like I've proven. I've proved that over the 5 years I've been there. So as much as I love that, I'm also back here and the Cam Cheetah brand is building, man. Like my gym will open up and I've got some fighters coming through under me, and believe me, the day I do retire from fighting, I'll be bringing through world champions in my name. Like my name's going to be around this game, not only as one of the best fighters in the bantamweight division, but I honestly believe I'll be one of the best coaches in the world.
Man, so, I love it. I love your story and everything you've achieved already so far. You've gone from the Brits of defeat all the way up to the top. You're in the UFC. That's the biggest accomplishment in your eyes, and you've made it.
Yeah, man, 100%. That's it, brother.
Thank you.
Hopefully, when I'm back fighting next year, we get in London or something, and all this COVID shit fucks off, and we get the fans back, man. Because that adds a lot of fire to my fuel and all, man.
I was planning to actually go to London.
Say again?
I was planning to go to UFC London, and then that messed up my week. It was like on the Wednesday or Thursday of the fight week. Dana said that the show's cancelled. I was like, "You."
Well, here's something for you. From what I'm hearing,
yeah,
doing a fight card in Brazil in January, and in Brazil, COVID, all rules are pretty much lifted, so it could be the first fans back in action in Brazil.
Oh.
January. I'd love to fight in Brazil.
Yeah, I can imagine Rio would be amazing, and it would be even better if it was against a Brazilian person, because you know how they get behind their fans, their fighters.
Yeah, if I come into Brazil, I'd want to fight Thomas Almeida, man.
He's just lost against Jonathan Martinez. Yeah,
good fight. But I like his style, man. I think Thomas Almeida he's a fucking name. He's a threat. He's got highlight reel knockouts over a lot of people. But what I like about him is the way he stays in front of you. He gives a punch. He knows he's going to take one. He likes to cover up on that. And I would win. I'd knock him out. But I just think it'd be epic for the fans. I think I'm fighting in Brazil would be awesome. But again, I'm not going to sit here and say I want this and I want that. At the end of the day, I need to get a win under my belt, which I will. And then trust me, Cam Cheetah TV starts, because when I'm on that mic, I'm going to be lighting it up. Watch.
Man, I love it. Thank you for the hour and 10 minutes you have given me. I didn't expect it to be this long. I've got about 10, 20 other questions I've got to ask you, but I wouldn't let you go.
Listen, we could do a part 2. Like I say, I go into depth in my conversation. I'm very passionate on that, so I talk a lot. So
100%. Well, I hope you enjoy your tea and your night, and I hope you have a good night with your missus.
Yeah, cheers, mate. You take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye, mate.